The problem is with some people, no matter what you give, it's never enough. Look, I got him ships, I got him hospitals, I got him a lot of things that he never thought he had pay dirt, okay? And I've been very generous on ventilators.
Hitting pay dirt is certainly one way to look at the situation the country now faces. Donald Trump's me-centric approach to the federal response is a large reason why so many people are now looking to their state officials for information, for guidance, for leadership. Just take California, where Governor Gavin Newsom's early and aggressive social distancing measures appear to have had a very positive effect. They've got about 8,500 cases there now, about a tenth of what the state of New York is dealing with. Our next guest is another official from the state of California from whom so many people are seeking guidance and leadership. Joining us now from Capitol Hill, California Senator, former Democratic presidential candidate, Kamala Harris. How are you doing, and how is your state?
Good. My state, you know, I was just, Nicole, just about an hour ago in a at least hour-long conference call with the mayors of our cities that are over a 300,000 person population. And listen, you said it, starting with Mayor London Breed of San Francisco, who was the first mayor in the country to say stay at home, to Gavin Newsom, who has provided extraordinary leadership in a state of 40 million people. The vacuum of leadership here in Washington, D.C. has shifted basically leadership to our mayors and our county officials and our governors. And in California, I say perhaps with a bit of boastful pride, they are doing an extraordinary job. But there's a real crisis. So I'm talking to the mayors today, and they are wits' end. When are they going to get the tests that they need? They need more tests. I spoke with Mayor Eric Garcetti, who's doing an extraordinary job in one of the biggest cities in America, and he's got a field hospital, but he needs more. He was talking to me about the fact that he's getting hospital beds, but he needs more hospital beds. But equally important, he needs medical health professionals who can actually work on those hospital beds. So the crisis is facing everyone around the country, and California is no exception. But I am proud of the leadership that folks there are providing. But they need more leadership from Washington, D.C.
Because California has done this social distancing piece really well, and my whole family's in California. They've been hunkered down. They've been at home, frankly, longer than I have. What is the conversation around what happens next? I mean, how do you contemplate ending that until you can test everybody? How do you send teachers back to a school unless they can walk in knowing whether they have the antibodies, whether they're positive or negative? I mean, how do you begin the process or begin the conversation of opening the state back up without tests?
Right. So first of all, we need a president who takes seriously the tools at his disposal, including the Defense Production Act. Donald Trump delayed initiating it. It's still now only for a couple of corporations just at this late hour around ventilation. Remember, production requires time to produce the goods that then people need to use on the street, such as what California needs. He needs to use the Defense Production Act to also then require that masks and testing are actually being produced. He has yet to do that. Let's look at what the last bill did. It's a $2 trillion bill. It met the moment in terms of the urgency, but it was sorely inadequate in terms of meeting the needs of families every day. For example, we still don't have paid sick leave. Folks need that. We need to know that the president, who has the ability to do, reopens enrollment so that people who have lost their jobs, those 3.3 million people around the country who are also losing their health insurance, will be able to take advantage of open enrollment. Yet the president of the United States and his attorney general are in court trying to still fight against the Affordable Care Act, which would meet the moment in terms of the fact that this is a public health crisis. There is the work that needs to be done to say that ICE should not be engaged in enforcement at critical and areas of necessity like public health facilities and grocery stores. Let's meet the needs of the moment in understanding that 3 million children in America do not have access to the internet. So while schools have shut down around the country, we have whole populations of children who are not receiving the benefit of an education and are going to fall so sorely behind, Nicole. You know, if a child misses up to 10% of the school year, that's almost, we can almost not make that time up. So these are the moments that require a president who understands the comprehensive ability that he or she has to meet the crisis at the moment. And I frankly find that this president has been inadequate.
You know, and he got a lot of credit last night for kind of leveling with the public about the potential for 100 to 240,000 deaths in this country. But there's still a debate in our business about whether we should be carrying these briefings at all. What's your take on that?
I mean, listen, real leadership means that in a moment of crisis, you have the courage to speak truth and then act based on truth, which requires an embrace of facts, and in this case, an embrace of science. And it is tragic that Dr. Fauci and others have now told us in the last 24 hours that we're looking at the possibility of 100,000 to 250,000 lives being lost, in large part in a way that was preventable if we had acted sooner. And the briefings are helpful only when we have Dr. Fauci speaking, frankly. But I find that, you give him the mic. Let the scientists speak.
Right.
This cannot be a moment that is led by people who have a political agenda. We need the scientists. We need the medical health professionals to lead the way. They should be the only voices that are leading the discussion about what is needed to meet the moment of this crisis.
Senator Kamala Harris, I hope that we can call on you often. People are scared, and yours is a reassuring voice in these stunning times, and your state is doing a lot of... Oh, go ahead.
On that point, I just want to remind everyone, right, so social distancing is important, not emotional distancing. Let's remember that this is a moment where we have people who have to be isolated, but we want to make sure that people are not emotionally isolated. Let's reach out to our single friends. Let's reach out to our neighbors, people who are alone. I find that I'm not texting as much. I'm picking up the phone and calling people more. There is, the mental health.
Because we know they're home. I'm doing that too. Yeah.
Right. And it's so great to hear a voice. It's so great to listen to that laugh instead of LOL, right?
I know.
That's what we need.
I know. That's such a good point.
Right? Yeah.
What else are you doing? Are you streaming anything reassuring? Are you cooking? What else are you doing?
I've been watching The Tiger King. Oh my God, I could only watch one episode at a time. It's a little too much. I think the reason that it's so appealing is because what could be more, outrageous than what we are experiencing? Well, that, right? It's
the only thing scarier.
It's a scary thing, but let's just make sure that we remember in this moment where it's for the public health interest, it's important to be alone or isolated, but actually what people are going to need to stay healthy and connected is that they not be isolated in terms of relationships. And so let's keep those relationships going. Let's work at them. And we're going to get through this, but it's going to take all of us. And this is one of those examples where we are all in this together. We are all in this together.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.